We got Ray and Ryan Jones, or at least Ryan somewhere, and Mr. Paul Daniel. Paul has a fantastic team of the Rozier pigeons, the Stimplebaus, and the Harrimans. He's very meticulous and takes fantastic care of the pigeons. I don't know if you saw on the Facebook, he drove them up here in the back of a van. I mean, basically flying first class for the rest of us on an airplane. And when they came out of the crate, it's just unbelievable. The quality, the feather, the muscle. So you'll see the attention to detail that he has. And besides them looking good, he's a fantastic racer. Does well in the one-off races, won the San Diego Classic, the Hoosier, the Texas Center, you name it, he's won it. And then Ryan and his father, just a week ago, were awarded the Elite Breeder Award from the AU, which basically says you're the best breeder in the United States. His pigeons also are here. Several of those pigeons that are in this auction are actually the performance pigeons. In other words, 600-mile race winners, 200-mile race winners, sister to the bird that won the AU convention last year. And I mean, it's just all phenomenal performance pigeons. And they also handle extremely well, as good pigeons do. All good pigeons have good muscle and good feather, especially to that level. So these guys are going to talk about whatever they want to talk about today. Feel free to ask questions when there's a bit of a break. And then tomorrow they're going to also talk. Tomorrow the talk basically will be about the pigeons that are in the auction. And then the birds will be in here as soon as they're done. And make sure you take the time to come speak with them, because they're very knowledgeable about the racing pigeon business and some other things too. But we won't talk. You can't talk to them about that. So that being said, I'll hand the mic over to Ryan, and we'll go.
Well, good morning, gentlemen. How's everybody doing? All right, I think what we want to kind of go over today is getting away from antibiotics with your pigeons. We've definitely made an effort over the years to be antibiotic free, to be natural with our pigeons, and use natural products. Just trying to get the immune system back to where we feel like it was back in the 80s, when our pigeons would live to be 18, 19 years old and still fertile and producing, doing what they were supposed to, instead of at 8 or 10 years old, they're done breeding. So anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Paul for a second here, and he can kind of elaborate on a little bit. Very good. Good, partner.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thanks for having us here, Carter, and the Omaha group. We feel honored to be here, and glad to meet everybody we have never met before. But like Ryan was saying, we're just big into the natural type thing with the birds. I mean, it's just in the long run, you're just going to be so much better off because of the longevity, with the pigeon. Like you said, I mean, birds, you turn around, you got a hen that's 5 years old, 6 years old, and she's shutting down on you already. I just think it has a lot to do with pouring the antibiotics to them so hard these days. It's just, people think, the first sign of a hen of anything, they just go straight to the medicine cabinet. And let's just start pouring medicine to them. Sometimes if you'll let nature take its course, it'll kind of weed out the thin ones, weed out the weak ones. I try to stay as natural as possible. I've got some products here that I use from Ed, and they seem to work really good. And the health of the pigeons stay phenomenal. People think, well, you can't fly on just natural products. You can't fly and compete at the top level without using medicine. Well, we're here to prove that you can, because we fly and compete against the best in the business. And these guys, they fly. Y'all know the record and what they do. You know, they're getting 500 to 600 mile a day birds, not one, they're getting several on the drop. I mean, from 600 miles. So, them's healthy pigeons. You can't do that if they're not healthy. So, and it's a natural. I mean, everything we do, we share a lot of stuff back and forth. We talk once, twice, 3 times a week. I mean, we anything we can do to help each other. We don't compete against each other, but we just try to share things back and forth to help each other in the pigeon sport. So, I just as me, myself, I'm just totally leaning towards 100% natural. I don't do anything that's and the same with them. I mean, they. I don't know what else to say besides we just try to stay as natural as possible, just clean, healthy, and you'll build a healthier pigeon. You'll build a healthier, stronger immune system. And the more you do it, the more you stay natural. Every season, your immune system and your pigeons should continue to get better every year with your babies. And you're going to lose a couple here and there, but it is just let nature take its course and move on. And it seems to work. So, Ray, you got something there?
And I think if there's those special ones and one gets sick or something, I mean, you can treat that one bird. Don't flock treat it. Just go for the one that might be having a problem. If you need to, sometimes we have to treat them, but again, like Paul says, we try to stay totally away from any of the antibiotics and all of that type of medication. So, and it does work very much. Yeah.
Anybody?
Questions? Yes.
So do you supplement them in order to enhance that natural health? Use supplements to do that?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I mean, I would say that we use a probiotic, but I don't know that there's any other supplements. I mean, pigeon basically is going to get all the nutrients and everything that it needs if you're keeping the environment proper and everything. If you're overdoing any vitamins or anything, it's just a byproduct anyway. So
they can only take in so much.
Exactly, they can only take in so much.
How about vaccinations?
We vaccinate, absolutely. Vaccines that's
Different story.
different than antibiotics and pumping them up with.
What do you vaccinate for?
We do the PMV and paratyphoid.
Yeah. We don't do pox.
And in our area, we don't do any kind of pox vaccination because we just don't have a problem with that. Our climate's very dry, so.
And we do in Texas. In Texas, it gets hot, humidity, and we have problems with mosquitoes and different stuff like that because of the moisture and the humidity. So therefore, and that's what I'm saying, like this stop mite that Ed sells, hands down, probably one of the best products I've ever used. When you got guys down in Louisiana, that the mosquito down there is a state bird. You know what I'm saying? So
I have a friend from there.
Yeah, and so it's a problem. Them guys by the end of middle of May, they're done. They can't breed anymore because anything they got in the nest, the mosquitoes just eat them up. I mean, the babies come out and they're just completely covered. Well, since this product has hit the market, it has totally changed their whole deal down there. And we're not as bad, you know what I'm saying? Me myself, I'm a lot further north, so I don't have as much humidity, but we still have it. But in a lot of our lofts, everybody's around my area, our lofts are as open as possible. I mean, like we have a back wall that is solid, and everything else is wire. From the floors to the front walls to everything is just wire, air, and more air because of the humidity and heat. And a lot of times when you do that, you don't have so much problem with mosquitoes because they don't like airy areas. They like more areas that's confined and stuff. And so, but this product right here has just been absolutely magnificent, as far as the mites and lice, anything on your pigeons. And the feather quality and everything and what the health of the pigeons of this product. I ain't gonna break it down because I don't know what's in it. I don't really care. It works for me, and I'm tickled to death with it. But the health of these pigeons, I use it 3 to 5 days a week. I mean, on my race team, and I mean, these guys were up when I flew the Texas Center Convention birds in the middle of July when it was 105 to 107 degrees with the humidity 112, 113. And this, I mean, it's just amazing. It keeps the droppings nice and tight. They don't get wet and loose and watery on you.
How are you applying?
Applying it, I use it on the feet, just the powder on the feet. I just, wet the feet with. I use the cure oil about 3 to 5 days a week also, and then I use that on top of it. And it's in the heat and humidity, you can't beat it. I mean, if you don't have heat and humidity, it may not work as good for you, and it ain't gonna hurt them. But everybody has to do what works for you in your area. Find a product, whether it be whatever. Like they don't have to worry about poxing. We do. You may not do this, you may do that, and no matter. But find what works for you in your area, and find a product and stick with it. You know what I'm saying? And roll on with it.
What's the first part of that oil? What oil?
It's the cure oil.
Cure oil.
Yes, sir. And if you've ever opened it up or smelled that stuff, it is amazing. I mean, and this product right here, humans, it won't hurt you. You can eat that; it won't hurt you. But this stuff is just absolutely the bomb.
Do you use a spray of any kind in your loft?
No, sir. I tell you what you can do with with this product. Take you a salt shaker. Is what I do. I take my salt shaker and fill it up with a salt shaker, and I go to each one of my perches and just go down to each one of my perches and put a drop on my perches, and that's it. I mean, you walk in there, and this stuff, even the drop-ins in your loft, will just smell better. It smells fresher. It smells dry because the little balls. I mean, the poop just comes out. There's little bitty balls. I mean, like little marbles. You can dump them off the perch. I mean, it's just amazing what that stuff does. So, anybody else?
How about young bird disease? Do you guys use like stewed rhubarb juice or elderberry juice, or what do you use for?
So what we've done, in fact, in 2015, I handled for the AU convention, and that thing at Dino pretty rampant. I mean, it was heavy, and I think at that point in time, I was trying everything under the sun, trying to get it over, and finally, one of the guys in the club, one of the older guys, said, "Hey, you know what we used to do when the pigeon was sick is we'd pull his tail out." So I went through my whole young bird team, pulled everybody's tail feathers out. And within 2 days, all of that stopped. It just clicked in that immune system, got them going, and it all stopped. So, in fact, what I do now is, after my young bird team is all together, I've got them there, I've got everybody homed in and everything, and everybody's at least dropped the first flight. I go through now and I pull everybody's tail feathers.
Every tail feather?
Every tail feather.
It shocks
The little bats.
It literally shocks the system and gets them going. I mean, I don't ever have to worry about any medications or anything after that. If I've got an issue, it's on an individual basis and may give a canker pill or something like that.
Typically, how old are those birds when you do that?
Like I said, they're all just starting to molt the first flight.
Yeah, get them into molting that first flight, and then you can pull.
You don't want to pull that tail too early. You definitely don't want to pull any flights or any feathers when it's in a blood quill. But once they're in, I've also noticed that as it comes up in the racing season, especially with young birds, I mean, everybody else's birds are molting a feather here. Every flight feather they molt, they've got a tail feather going with it. So they're double growing that stuff. My birds are not messing with the tail at all. So it's almost like they were on a darkening or lighting type of thing, but without any of that going on. Because I don't even take young birds until mid-June. When our last old bird race goes off, then I'll start taking young birds for that year. And come August, those pigeons are in the races and they fly until, well, last week was our last race, and all the way out to 350 miles.
So
So you don't do anything with pulling of the flights at all?
I don't.
And see, I do, because they can hear me.
Yeah.
I do because in Texas, you know what I'm saying, it's so hot, so I breed early. You know, I pair my birds up. We go to San Diego every year for the 10-day deal out there. We get home the first day of December, and I pair up birds. And then my breeders are on lights, and when the babies come off, they stay on lights, 24-hour lights. And I never cut the lights off until May the 15th or June the 1st. And when I shut them off, I pull their 9ths and 10ths and completely shut them down for 45 days. Don't let them out of the loft. But as young birds, you know, I'm just like Ryan. I mean, when my babies dropped that first flight, I pulled everybody's tail feathers. I handled for the Texas Center Convention this year in the high roller loft, and I got, you know, almost 200-something birds in there and had not one sick pigeon the whole time. As soon as every group that would come in, as soon as they'd come in, I pulled everybody's tail feathers. And just keep moving them down in sections.
Right.
Keep moving them sections. Everybody's tail feathers. And I'm talking in the heat in Texas, in the humidity, and didn't have not a sick pigeon one. And they were there, and when they shipped the birds, they were magnificent. I mean,
No problem with the tail feathers.
No problem with
even
it.
though you're pulling blood.
Yeah. But a lot of times I get everybody's birds, they're already dropping that first flight. You know what I'm saying? As long as I don't try to pull them before that first flight. Once the first flight drops, usually the blood quills are done everywhere, the rest of the body.
Right.
So therefore, I just pop them out. Yeah, they look like a bunch of little storks for 30 days, but I promise you.
Do you lock the birds up then during that
Yes,
time?
Yeah.
Actually, I don't.
I turn them loose.
I don't. I try to get them to land on the ground. In fact, I think it works. It helps you with your trapping overall,
with the homing too.
because those birds can't rudder down and slow down as they come into the landing board, right? So there's kind of maybe banging in the side of your building, but
It kinda keeps
quickly
them
learn
grounded.
that they need to land on the ground, then jump up to that landing area from there, and when it comes to the races and they've got that full tail, they never miss that landing board ever. And
I use it
they
as
are so on it.
And Ryan did this tail pulling, and I thought I'd gotten a late start, and I thought, I'd missed doing it when he did. And so I put it off and didn't do it. And as the season went on, we were always handling each other's birds, putting them in the race. And his birds, they were much further along in the molt. They looked better.
And younger.
And his are younger than mine.
Mine are
taking
round younger than
older
his.
ones. Yeah, it was so. He
It
double-proved to me
it
that
jump-starts.
I missed the boat this year by not doing what these boys
It jump starts
are
the whole system.
Well, it makes sense. I had a lot of birds this year, didn't send to the races because they didn't have a tail,
Yeah.
And
the key of it is it just jump starts. It just tells the body that hey, there's a problem. So that just double, triple produces the endorphins to that body, which just makes. I mean, and when you're trying to race a pigeon and it's growing feathers in, trust me, you're trying to give him everything, and the body's saying, I'm only going to take so much for myself, but everything else is going to this to put these new feathers in here. So if you've got a pigeon that ain't growing feathers, especially tail feathers, and the big ones on the end, 8, 9, and 10. You're helping yourself. I mean, you can't go wrong.
Well, and the big thing is also as they're going through that, we've all been racing our birds, having our birds go through the molt and everything. They have a tough race. You see that in that flight.
Yeah, it spreads out.
In the tail, whatever. I mean, it'll literally mess
Wave
that
on
feather up forever. And in pulling the tail like that, again, now the pigeon is only concentrating on the flights. It doesn't have to do a tail feather along with that flight feather. So it's only concentrating on half of the feather growth that it would normally do. And I've not had any flights come out messed up or anything like that on the young birds, having done the tail feathers. Tony, what's up?
So I have an online question. Just when you guys say natural, does that also mean you guys don't medicate the birds prior to breeding?
We do not medicate prior to breeding. In fact, my dad and I actually, together we select our birds, the breeding pairs and everything. We put them together. We get the birds down on the first round of eggs, and then we treat for canker at that point in time. Once they're down on their first round of eggs. So
Yeah, there's 7 days of canker, and
You rotate the different canker pills?
actually, yeah, every year we
try to.
Try to.
But, yeah.
yeah, because we don't want the birds to get an immunity to it. You know what I mean? If you're going to use it, you want to definitely make sure that it's going to work.
Right.
So that's another reason why we're trying to get away from any kind of medication or anything like that. But obviously, like canker, coxy, you know, if you've got an issue, those aren't really an antibiotic. They're more just keeping under control what a pigeon carries all the time.
Warm the birds too, young birds obviously.
Absolutely.
So you just canker coxy and warm before you send out to one lofts, or do you PMV?
Actually,
We have been requested to PMV before we
right,
send them.
vaccinate. In some
vaccinate.
races, they're like, hey, make sure you vaccinate your birds before you ship them, like the $1 million race.
Those we do, but
Right.
the rest of them we don't.
Yeah.
Do you, Paul?
Depends on whatever. Some of them I do. I'll vaccinate, give the babies a shot. But here's the deal. If that baby's still being, a lot of guys want to go in there and vaccinate while them babies are in the nest. Just my opinion. And they're like noses. Everybody's got one. I think you're killing you. There's no sense in wasting it. That baby don't have no immune system right now. He's working on mom and daddy's immune system. He's living on theirs. So why you just give him something that ain't gonna benefit him. That's not going to benefit him until he's on his own, until he's building his own immune system. When he's off of mom and daddy, then give him. Yeah, when you wean him, and after 2 or 3 days him eating on his own, and he's not being fed anymore, hit it to him, no problem. But a lot of times I like to give vaccinate one time before I send to a race, because when they get there, and I usually don't send my babies until they've dropped their first flight. And some people say, oh my God, no. Well, ask 98% of your one-life guys. They don't want you to send them birds until then. You think, well, they can't get them home. Well, you're wrong. If they're any good at what they do, they have no trouble. They'll have no trouble getting them home. So therefore, I don't send until that bird's dropped his first flight, because therefore that baby's already eating and drinking on his own. He's doing really good. He's already flying. Got him a perch. He's already got his immune system starting to move along. Yes, sir.
Can we do the mic?
Yeah.
I have a bunch of deaf friends over here.
Okay.
So we're under the speaker.
Oh.
Hello. Sorry.
Oh, no.
But I just like to wait till the babies have dropped that first flight, and that way, and if I have no choice, if I'm in a hurry or I got to meet a deadline or something, and I pick up a baby and it opens his wing up and he hasn't dropped his first flight, I pull both the first flights before they go, and I pull the center 4 tail feathers when I send them out to the turkey. Every baby of mine, when they leave, the first flights are pulled and the 4 center tail feathers are pulled. And last year I sent a couple of babies to some guys, and they got there, and this was new loss I sent to, never sent before, and all of a sudden the guy calls me and gets him out of his box. He said, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And then the birds had no tail feather, and it freaked him out. He's like, "Oh my God!" But most of the time I just pull the 4 center tail feathers and the first flights when everybody's gone. But I vaccinate them when they come out of the nest in about 3 to 5 days, and that way they're eating. That way, when I do send them in about 2.5 to 3 weeks later, and they get to the one off, he vaccinates them again, so therefore they got a booster. And then a lot of times they give another booster. So it's giving them birds, helping them, in the long run on them big races when you're dumping there with several hundreds or even thousands of pigeons. So.
Is that PMV and paratyphoid you're doing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In fact,
Can't remember which product it is that we bought, but we literally took and mixed the two right together.
And that was at Dr. K this year.
Yeah, and gave it. In fact, I spent a lot of time on the phone with Frank McLaughlin. He's like, "Look, if it's this water-based product that you're dealing with, just mix them right together and just give them the one shot. That way you don't have to take, 2 different needles, give it to the same pigeon."
What's that? Salmonella and PMV.
Yes.
Yep.
American-made products.
Yeah.
Right.
Compatible.
And make sure they're in the same base, water base.
Right.
Right.
Oil
You
base.
definitely don't want to mix up the oil and the water base, or else, yeah, you'll have pigeons dropping off the perch.
Yeah, bad.
Just give me 1 second.
Yes.
So, Ed Grainbelt is going to come in here and when these fellows are done, because he has some information on the vaccines, proper uses, improper uses, the way we're storing, just because he got some useful information. It's going to take about 10 minutes, but I think it's really useful for you guys to hear it. So, anyway, that's what.
Well, that-
while you were talking about vaccines, I wanted to hit that.
I was going to say, I spoke with Ed last night, and I was sure hoping that everyone would get to, we would all get to hear what he's got to say about it, because he investigates this and really goes down the chain real far. So glad he is. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, there's some products that I use right here that I went there and I get them from Ed. And I'll leave them up here and you can come up and look after it's over. Yes, sir.
Give us a rundown of what a week in your loft is like as far as what you're using.
For the race birds, or for the race birds, I'm on this really hard. I mean, I stay on this really hard. And this is one of my favorite products, which is the Natural Lean. It has 15 different herbs and minerals and vitamins into it, and it's just I keep it in the water anywhere from 3 to 5 days a week. And the birds, it just keeps the birds clean, and it keeps you roll them over, they're just as pale pink and slick and shiny, and it's just an amazing product. If I had to get rid of everything, this would be one of the most things I'd want the most. This and the Ecotonic. We use the Ecotonic pretty hard, and Ed, I'll let Ed give the big analysis on that right there, but there was a big study done on this stuff, and like 30-something different veterinarians and doctors and stuff, and they put up 15 or 20 different peach trees and put 10 live bacteria, in these peach trees. And I mean, they put apple cider vinegar, they went down the list, acetic acid, they put all different kind of stuff in there. And like apple cider vinegar, it killed 2 or 3 of the bacterias, and then kind of slapped around the other ones, but didn't kill them. And then there was a bunch that didn't even bother them. Well, when it got down to it, they wouldn't tell them when they done this whole study. And there was one deal that they done that just when they put it in there, it destroyed every bacteria that was in that deal. Out of the 10 bacteria, it just destroyed it. Well, it was this product right here. The key of it is catching that stuff before it gets. If it gets to the gut and goes to the gut lining into the blood deal, you're done. You're just too late. You're in trouble. But if you can catch that thing anywhere in the head, anywhere in the throat, anywhere in the mouth, and before even when it gets to the gut, with this type of product right here, it's going to destroy your problem. But if it gets into the bloodstream, you're in trouble. So, but this is an absolute magnificent product. I use it about 3 to 4 days a week.
Hear about it?
Yes, and when I had the Texas Center birds this year, the convention birds, with all that heat and all them birds for everybody, 3 to 5 days a week in the water, and it's just a teaspoon is all you got to do. You ain't got to kill it. You ain't got to one's good, two's better. No, just stick with it. And I was a big apple cider vinegar fan. Ryan and Ray are big apple cider vinegar fans. I mean,
But Paul, I did this last year. I started with the Echo, and it. Well, like I told Ed last night, I didn't have any problems this year, so I guess it might be working.
And that's the deal. This product right here, you'll absolutely love it. I mean, it's just amazing what it does for the birds.
So I guess the original question was what we do day to day as we're building up. So I'll just kind of start with Monday. Monday, I do apple cider vinegar in the water. Monday and Tuesday. Depending on what the distance of the race is coming up that week, I might even run it into Wednesday. Because we like to train the day before basketing. This is the one day a week that we train with our young birds, and we go 100 miles. Anything short of 250 miles. Once we start getting out to that 300-mile station, 350, then we like to train on Wednesday for that week. So that's the only thing that's going to fluctuate there is on return from the training toss, I put elderberry, the glucose or grape sugar, which is another product that Ed has. And the thing that Paul and I came up with just this year is we're using noni juice along with the elderberry and the glucose, and it just bounces the pigeons immediately back. I mean, within a half hour of them being home from a 100-mile toss, 2.5 hours on the wing, you'd never know that they even went anywhere. They just
What's the name of that juice again?
Noni, N-O-N-I, yeah, Tahitian noni juice.
Tahitian noni juice.
Yeah, it's actually a product that is right in my backyard pretty much. It's just down the road, the company that puts it out. But I still get it cheaper on Amazon Prime than I do driving right over to their place and trying to pick it up. So,
and it's a product. It's a product for humans. I
I take it.
It's a human grade product.
It's a human grade product. I take it's the noni fruit is what they consider the most healingest fruit in the world. You cannot eat it or drink it or do anything with it when it's just raw. It's absolutely ungodly bitter. I mean, it's horrid. So they cut it, but there's blueberry and some different other berries they put with it to cut it down to where it's tolerable. And it's not bad, but it is just a outstanding product, and it's all natural. I mean, it's just natural that God gave us, and that with the mix with the elderberry, and I tell you something, you get the adeno.
oh,
Go for it.
in fact, 2 years ago, my dad had never seen Dino. And 2 years ago, he was out training young birds and everything, and he comes home. He's like, I don't know what's going on with my birds, but all of a sudden they're throwing up. Like, I said, oh, sounds like the 2015 AU. Sounds like you've got a Dino. Anyway, we jumped on the phone with Stephen Michael, and he's like, get this elderberry, do this. And I mean, literally within 2 days, we had my dad's whole team over that, and he was back to training his pigeons.
The elderberry and then the
Echinacea.
no, I just lost it. The oil, the oregano. The oregano, you guys, boy, my thoughts. Yeah, oregano. Really, those two products, and I had it under control before I could get in any adeno medicine. I mean, I got some, but it's all still in the fridge because it fixed it right that fast. So I had the birds back in the races within 2 weeks, and in fact, I think when I came back, I think I won that next race that I was in, and I don't usually win the young bird races, but boom, they were there. So.
Anybody got any questions, or where do you want to go? Dell.
How do you put that elderberry juice on the feed?
Oh, so with the elderberry, in fact, I found a great website to purchase it from. Instead of going to your health store, they usually charge about $30 a quart for that stuff. I found a winemaker's website. It's called Label Peelers, and they sell it by the gallon. And it's a concentrate. They usually, about every other month, they run a special on it because it's normally like $35 a gallon. And they'll run a special every other month where they sell for $24 a gallon. So that's when I order mine. 1 gallon, I mean, you're only putting a tablespoon of this concentrate per gallon in there. So as I mix it in the water, I do it with right there in the kitchen, so I've got the hot water going. So it breaks it down because it's thicker than syrup.
Yeah.
It's like molasses. And just mix it in with the hot water. And I do a tablespoon per gallon.
How many times a week?
I run it, like I said, like Wednesday, Thursday. Then on Friday, day of shipping, I like to go to freshwater. Again, I don't put any product in on Friday. And then on Saturday return, it's back to the elderberry, noni, the grape sugar, glucose.
You guys are still using the probiotics, aren't you?
I don't find any reason to put in any of the probiotic anymore because noni carries all of that. So, and not only that, I'm not taking anything away from the pigeon ever. I'm not giving them any antibiotics. I'm not starving them of anything. So, they don't need the probiotic. It's not, I could use it. I could throw it in. But
Well, if you're not killing the bacteria, if you're not.
Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from them. And as we've done this, in fact, got away from the antibiotics altogether, I'm telling you, as the old bird season goes on and we're getting to that 11th week, up to the 600, those pigeons that have been every single week building up to that, they're just getting better.
They just get stronger.
You're absolutely not taking anything away from those birds. They're just getting better. They want that 14 hours on the wing, and they're ready to give it to you. They're not going to back off.
For me, when my birds hit the loft from the race, this is the first thing they get to drink of. Because they've been in the crates and with all them other pigeons, they drank out of them waters and everything else. And it's still, if there's any problems, it's still right here. You know what I'm saying? It hasn't got down low. So I want to zap anything and everything that as soon as they come home. And then that's on Saturday, but then now Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, I'm elderberry and the noni juice. And then I mix honey and different stuff on their feed when they come home just to give them a big pick-me-up, like the sugars and stuff, just to, with a lot of brown rice and stuff like that, just as a pick-me-up. I feel good again. And here's something I do, Ryan. When my birds get home from the race on Saturday, and after I've clocked the pigeons that's mean something, that's in contendence for anything, and then I open the doors and let them all back out. I don't keep them locked up. I let them back out. As soon as they get home, and let's say I clock 10 or 15 birds, and I know anything after that, there's no sense in whatever. I ain't worried about them. I walk in and open the loft and push them all back outside. I let them back out and leave the loft open, where they go in and out the rest of the day. And so therefore, any soreness and tightness that they're starting to get from the
acidity buildup.
That acidity buildup. As soon as they start to tighten up, well, I let them back out where they can kind of keep that broke loose. Because if you lock them down on Saturday and then don't turn them out until even Sunday, and some guys don't even turn them out until Monday. They'll lock them up all day Sunday. Well, that bird is just, you go work out in the gym over here and really bust your ass, and then all of a sudden don't do anything for 3 or 4 days, and you can't hardly move. You're sore as all get out. You're just locked up. Well, if you go back in the next day or even later on that day and do it lightly, don't hard do it, you're going to work out the muscles and the soreness that's in them. That's the same with the birds. I don't let them birds sit in that loft and get locked up. Because when you do it, you either got to train it out of them during that week, or you're in trouble for the next weekend. So therefore, once the races start, I train once a week, and I'm just like them. I train 100 miles usually on Tuesday or Wednesday. If you're going to put some time on the wing, you ain't doing no good going 30 or 40 miles. You're just wasting your time. You're not getting it.
Well, if your young birds we all know if your young birds are in shape, healthy and everything, every time you let them out of the loft, they're going to go out and route for over an hour. And you don't have to make them fly. They want to fly. They're young. That's what they want to do. So why take them on a training toss that's going to be less time than they spend on the wing themselves every time you send them out? Get them out there and stretch them out.
Save your gas money.
And not only that, it breaks those birds up enough that if you've got issues with power lines and anything like that, it separates those birds. Where at a 30-mile toss or something like that, they're all together in a big bunch. They lift up over that one, and guess what? Your bird that was running for champion bird just
come in with a broke leg.
Yep. So stretch them out, give them some space. and do something that's, you know, if you're spending 3 days a week going up the road to 30 to 50 miles, just do it one time. Go 100. Save your own time,
money.
you know, and money.
Where do you start your birds at? Is it
20 miles for me.
Yeah, I don't go near that far. I just do 5, 10, 20. Yeah,
how
so.
many tosses before you get to that 100?
Usually 100 is within it's usually about the 6th or 7th toss.
8. I always figure 8 from 8, you know.
Yeah, it's about 6 to 8 for me also.
Okay.
I mean, and here's something else, guys. This is something I do. I never take the birds to the same spot twice. When I start training, I never go to the same spot twice. If let's say I go 20 miles today and I'm going 20 tomorrow, I move to the south, I move to the north, don't go to the same spot. Never let them see that same spot twice. Because every time, let me finish, every time you do that, you're making him use what God gave him. Instead of saying, oh, I know how to get to my room from here. I've done it several times. But you take me to the other part of the building, I may have to think about it for a second to figure out where I'm at. So make that pigeon use his brain every time that you take him somewhere. Yes, sir.
A friend of mine was telling me he took his pigeons to the same spot 10 times in a row, and boom, and off they went. The 10th time, he let them out, and by then you'd think they know where they were. They circled for 20 minutes. So I don't know what happened, but something atmospheric.
Yeah.
And
that
happens. Put them all at the same point, time after time. So,
I go to a different spot, and usually when I start,
I just want to pause and let everybody know that the great Stephen Michael just came into the room. Stephen just came into the room.
I just usually when I start, I don't stop. I'm not one of them guys that goes 10, 10, 10, 10, 15, 15. I just go. And I go 10 today, I go 20 tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? I just keep jumping. I just keep going. You can do the same thing. You got to keep building something. You got to keep pushing a little harder. You can't push it all at the same time, all at one time. But you got to keep pushing, making that horse, buck and bull, or even the pigeon. You got to work them a little harder every day, a little harder. So therefore, you're building a muscle. You're tearing it down. And you can't build something until you tear something down. And that's why a lot of times during the week, you know, I go 100 miles. And so therefore, I'm not hurting anything, but I am tearing the muscle down a little bit. That way, as soon as you tear it down, boom, then it explodes bigger and better. You take a guy that works out in the gym, he's, you know, saying repetitionally, he's building, then you tear it down, and then you build it bigger. So, yes, sir.
What's your very first toss when babies for their first toss?
20 miles.
Good man, me too.
Yes, sir, 20 miles. Well, I mean, and here's the thing, guys. Where I'm at, I'm kind of big, wide open. My place is big and wide open. And like, I'll go to town, and the young birds will be out route, and I'll go to town, and town's 6 miles from the house. And, you know, you get to town, and I'm doing something in town, all of a sudden you look up and see the whole wad go over you in town. And then you'll just follow them, and I've watched them go completely out of sight. You know, and where I'm at is up on the deal. You can see 7, 8, 10, 12 miles and literally watch them go out of sight in the wrong direction. Then pigeons that's healthy, feeling good, and wanting to play, trust me, they know where 20 miles is like it's the back. They can see, you and I can see for God knows how long. If they get up 200 or 300 feet in the air, there's no telling how far that bird can see. So therefore, people's like, oh, I want to go 5 miles. And here's the problem. I've seen more people lose more pigeons going 5 miles than I have people going 20 miles. Because a lot of times at 5 miles, when they get up and figure out what they're doing, they're babies. They're like a bunch of kids. They're playing. They're feeling good. They want to fly. They want to go. And before you know it, they went right by the house and never looked left or right and just rock and rolled. And all of a sudden, 3 hours later, you're getting birds coming in from the wrong direction going, what the heck's going on? Well, them birds were playing. They felt good. They wanted to go somewhere. So that's why I go 20 miles. stretch them out a little bit. That way, when they do get lined out, a lot of times they'll line out, and then when they're feeling good, then they'll figure out where home is instead of just blowing by it. So
my best young bird season when I flew previously, I single tossed my birds 80 miles for the first toss.
That's the first toss.
I wasn't going to fly that year, so I was just sitting on some youngsters, and I decided to fly at the last minute. Single toss.
Which is proof right there. I think a lot of times, guys, we tend to have a tendency to want to baby these pigeons a little bit, and I think that's our worst mistake we could ever do is baby pigeons. Because we make, we can make more every year, and so I just think we baby them too much. I mean, if you pound on them a little bit, the cream will rise. It'll rise, and that's all you want. You know what I'm saying? The odds of getting a super special pigeon every year is slim to none. We're looking for that special pigeon or special pigeons, but I think we baby pigeons, and here's the problem is it seems like the ones you have to baby the most, write their numbers down. At the end of the season, you ain't got them. They're not there. So why not lose them early in the season and get it over with? Save time, money, and medication or whatever you're using.
Yeah, I definitely think that a lot of us have the problem of you get a bird out there, you think, oh, he came home a few minutes late or something from that 100-mile toss, and so day after tomorrow you're going to go again. But that one you think, I'll set it back, I'll baby it, right? You do more damage to that bird. Now he's really in trouble. And odds are that when you take him back out the next day and he's down, I mean, I have him come home sometimes, get off track, come home that evening, and you're going the next day and it's light. I mean, he's really run himself down. But I find that you're better off to put him right back in the basket the next day. He'll be right in the first drop. And you think, wait a minute, he's already thin. But then he's in the first drop and he's building back up. And you leave him home, he's already hurt himself. Again, like, Paul, you don't want to lock him in. That's kind of what you're doing to him. So I think you're hurting him to baby him, for sure.
Yep. I mean, just like the other day, I was at a big fraternity, and the guy put the fraternity on, say, hey, one of your birds just come in a day and a half ago. What do you want to do with it? First thing I said is ship it. I want to ship that joker now. He said, well, you want to look at it? I said, yeah. So he handed it to me. I looked at it. No problem. Shipped it to the race. That's my first pigeon in. The thing of it is, it's just, I just feel like, guys, we baby these pigeons too much. I mean, yeah, they're our babies, but we baby them too much. I mean, it just seems like you said, one comes in, oh, he's 10 minutes late from a trainer toss. Well, something may be wrong. I'll send him today and I'll let him go the next day. No. Hammer down. Just keep shipping them. And if you drop them, I mean, let nature take its course. You're going to have a better pigeon. You're going to, before you know them, you're just going to produce a better bird. You're breeding a better stock. Yes, sir.
So one of the questions from Jim Stevens says, for your breeding strategy to breed racers, can you explain how you do that to breed racers and how they create their breeding stock?
So if it's okay, today we would want to talk about the racing side of everything. Tomorrow we'll get in more in depth with the breeding and everything, if that's all right with everybody. Because tomorrow we want to talk about the breeding so we can talk about the pigeons that we've actually got in the auction and everything. Today's the race day. Just keep it on race mode, if that's all right.
Perfect.
All right.
Yeah. That's fine.
Oh, go ahead. I thought you were, I just took away. Anyway, any other
question? There's a question.
Yes, sir.
Right there.
Some guys say young birds, if they're out over 2 hours every hour or longer, or 3 hours every hour they're out longer, you should give them a day's rest for everyone. And now some of the birds come home and have evening shifts. You could raise them all week for that. But
ship them.
That's babying them, right?
Ship them.
Because a lot of times, man, late birds, you shouldn't have raised that quick. Bring
your first pigeon home. That's right. You scare them. They spend the night out. It scares them. Yes, sir.
This question's for Ryan.
Yes.
On your young birds, you said you take the birds in June for your own race team?
Mid-June.
Mid-June. And so you're just raising yourself one round of pigeons?
It's usually our third round.
Okay.
Off of our breeding.
Right.
That I'll start taking the birds. Just the way that my job is, work and everything like that. Mid-June or the solstice is when we have our 600.
So those birds are between 30 and 40 days old.
Right.
You wean them, they're in the loft. Then tell me what happens with those two. What do you do now?
Start to finish. All right, so mid-June I get the birds in. Mid-July, say right in there, everybody is pretty much settled to the loft. Everybody's dropped the first flight. I pulled the tail feathers, and a good friend of mine, Del Gola, told me a pigeon's never home until it's been on the ground. By pulling the tail, I make sure that they get right on the ground because they can't land anywhere else. They can't stop. So get the bird on the ground. Then they never go away at that point in time.
Natural light?
Yeah, I don't do any changing of light or anything like that.
And those pigeons are racing in August.
In August.
They don't molt, their head's not molting.
Oh no! Actually, the first 2-3 weeks, I mean, I'm shipping pigeons with open ear holes.
Okay.
You know, most of their body feathers are falling out. I mean, those pigeons are falling apart.
Which is so your 350-mile races,
but
your youngsters are 4 months old.
Right. And they've flown every single week, so they've been come that 350. That's their 8th week of in competition with everybody else. And on top of that, I mean, of course, I've been training them. So
I know one fella in your area who, I'm not going to mention names, but he knew on your AU convention you were toast because of the way you were handling your pigeons. You were not going to be competitive.
Right, yeah, I was wasting everybody's time for sure.
Light guys, dark guys, basically you're natural guy. And you had the top 6, right?
I was fortunate that day for sure. Yeah, and thank you to all the breeders that shipped in pigeons. I mean, you guys sent me the best of the best, and hey, we got lucky, you know.
Oh, I like it. Thanks.
Yeah, you know, blind squirrel finds acorn. News at 11.
Which is proof, guys. Quit babying these pigeons. I mean, he's got pigeons that are 3 months old, and they go for 8 weeks, 9 weeks. They don't quit them, and they're babies.
So on that AU convention, in fact, most of the guys flew that at under 300 miles. My birds flew 380. I overflew everybody by at least 50 miles, and I had by far the youngest pigeons. That was the last groupings that were even shipped into the whole convention. So everybody in my loft had three to molt. I didn't clip and pull any 9th or 10th and anything like that. Everybody's 6 was just coming in about quarter, right in there. Everybody was pretty much on the same page because I had 100 birds within 2 weeks, and it just goes to show you that once you start your program and get on it, and just hit that accelerator and keep them going, these birds will perform in the way that you expect them to. In fact, it was only 7 days before the 380, the finale, and I took my team 265 miles.
We took.
Oh, sorry.
I went with
Hey, we killed the bear. Papa shot it.
You know, and I'm so proud of Ryan and the way he handled the birds and what he did in that race. I will say in our own weekly racing competition against our fellow members that are doing the lighting systems, we're at a detriment in normal young bird racing each week. Seems like we kind of see ourselves the first one behind a couple of the guys that are really good at their lighting system. So I personally don't knock the lighting system, but I totally, we don't raise them early. We don't do any of that stuff that makes it so you can do the lighting system, call it lazy or whatever, but by the time we're done, we usually go to San Diego for the big races there. I come home, the last thing I want to do is sit down and start figuring out what we're going to put together and get out there in the snow and start putting them together. Yeah, by then it's usually snowing at our house pretty good. So anyway, yeah, usually our breeders aren't together until try for mid-February. Sometimes I make it, and sometimes I don't. But so, that's why we're at where we're at, even in why Ryan can take that last round so late is because I started breeding kind of late. So yeah.
You guys heat your lofts?
No.
What kind of feed do you do?
Oh, during the week, talking about the race season. So when I'm doing the outside vinegar, Monday, Tuesday, it's 100% barley. I want to clean those birds out. So 100% barley Monday, Tuesday. Monday, definitely Tuesday morning. Then Tuesday evening, it's going to be more of a 50-50 mix with barley, just regular race mix. We buy our seed from Wheatland. It's just a local granary right there in Utah. So kind of fortunate that way. Yeah. And then I just, as the week goes on, I just start getting more and more heavy with if you're going to use peanuts or safflower, little corn, build them up, get them ready, and just blow them up. And so on the toss on Thursday,
you're talking about young birds or old birds, right?
Both, young and old.
Okay. Yeah. Because of the weather.
Oh, I got you. Well, yeah, because during old birds, you're going from, as the season moves on, you're going from cold to hot. And in young birds, you're going from hot to cold. But I don't really differ in the way that I feed, and not only that, I load my birds up the same if they're going to 150-mile races or if they're going to a 300-mile race. I never send a bird empty. I think it's kind of crucial that they have something. I don't want my pigeons sitting around in the race crate pecking at the ground, picking up something. So I don't send them one.
So barley, I throw in barley at my old bird cocks after the season. Just give them barley. They fly for 8 hours a day.
Yes,
well, that's another thing that I do with the young birds, because I take them so late. I immediately put them on 100% barley and encourage them to get up in the air. I want that. So the more barley that you feed, the more that your pigeons will want to fly. Yep. The heavier that you get with the feed and everything like that, the more they want to stay down. So
the corns, I have no peas whatsoever in my
during the race season, peas are poison.
Yeah, no peas whatsoever.
And in Texas, it's so hot, so we stay away from a lot of them corns and peas and that stuff that generates heat. You know what I'm saying? I'm more, the barley, I have a mixture that Mr. C.L. Gage has got in through Baden's for us.
What do you guys call it, Coors Light?
It's just barley and Milo, red Milo, safflower, and that's it.
It's called, sometimes people call it depurative.
It's a depurative kind of a mix, but everybody does them different. Some of them have other different things in them or whatever, but and this one has brown rice in it, and it's just amazing. You put them on it, and God, they just go to the air. I mean, they just go. They want to fly. Seems like the corn. There's no peas. I don't buy a pigeon feed at my house that has peas in it, except during breeding season, and I don't use a lot of feed grain in breeding season. I'm a pellet kind of guy.
So pig pellets.
And I use pig pellets. So the Mormons pig pellets is the pig feed industry. Yeah, Mormons. The pig feed industry is probably hands down one of the best feed industries in the world. The pig industry is just huge, and so they spend millions of dollars designing these feeds that are outstanding for a pig. And a pig has the most sensitive stomach of any animal. So therefore, they have to be real precise in the things they use and what they do to be able to feed a pig. And so I use the pig pellets during my breeding season. It's 18% protein with 7% fat, but it's loaded with all the minerals and vitamins and everything that a bird needs. So, yes, sir.
Can you get those in non-medicated?
Yes.
Because around here, it's hard to find pig pellets that aren't medicated.
Yes, you can get them in non-medicated. Sometimes you have to go to
Gotta buy them from the Mormons.
Yeah, their medication. Sometimes you have to go to the 16%, 16.7 to get the non-medications. But think about this though, a little bit of that, and it's just mainly an aeromycin or a terramycin. It's nothing harsh on a bird. And another thing, that medication won't kill anything. It's just a preventative. That's all it is. That's why they have it in that feed for the pig. It don't kill anything. If they got a problem, that ain't gonna kill anything. It's just a preventative. You take a guy like Rick Martis, which is one of the best flyers in the country. He flies in my club with us, and he is brutal. But he keeps an aeromycin in his water from beginning of racing season to the end of racing season, never takes it out. And he flies on the cheapest, nastiest feed you ever seen in your life. Corn, wheat, Milo, and safflower. That's all he flies on. And he will wear your hiney out.
So
he is that good.
That medicates.
And he don't.
It's constant medication.
Yeah, it's a constant medication, but it's not really a harsh one. It's just he just puts it in there as like I use this stuff to keep bacteria and stuff. He uses the aeromycin in his water as his preventative. He don't use something like this, and so he don't treat with any harsh medications, and he is awesome at what he does. So,
we all know Rick Martis. I think everybody here knows Rick. I mean,
you just got to do what works for you.
He's a true competitor,
He
and
is dynamite when it comes to flying birds. So, yes, sir.
What states, I have a couple years where my young birds going around and all. Is there some kind of mite, big thing, there's a mite in there that gets in there, kind of in their head, more in their throat or something, where young birds won't range?
I've heard about it, but I've never experienced it. I've never had it.
Well, Larry, every time that I have an issue with young birds not wanting to route, then I just get to 100% barley.
Yeah.
And I mean, it fixes them.
It fixes it. Yep.
I mean, those pigeons just get off the ground and they get going.
Barley, hands down, barley is probably the best grain that you can give a pigeon. Hands down, it has the most nutritious of any grain there is, but they don't like it because
and they hate it.
Yes, sir.
Is it bird barley, or what kind of barley specifically are you using?
Just a regular malt barley. Yes, sir.
With the hull?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, they don't like it. Boy, you talking about, I mean, you get pigeons that won't fly, and put it on them straight barley. They won't like it for the first day or two, but
they may not even eat it for the first day or two, but you just stay with it. Pretty soon they're like,
don't give in.
I got to eat it, or
the ones that won't eat it, they die, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly. There you go. You don't leave them anyway.
He didn't get that.
Yeah.
And of course, it's got to be the malt barley.
Yeah.
Just don't give it to them in liquid form.
That's right.
Ryan and I drink enough of the barley pop.
Right.
Or our birds don't need it.
Anything else? Yes, sir.
Have you ever experienced using oregano?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We all use it.
Well, tell us about it, please.
Go ahead.
We use it religiously. I do. I mean, this is what's in this product right here. Is oregano. Yeah, and so that's one of the reasons why I think this product is so, so good, is because it's in there.
And I think that when we mentioned that I'd have come up with that Adeno for that one time and it scared me to death, well, Stephanie definitely rolled me right on that red. I mean, I talked to him that night when we were talking about it. He had experienced it. I went down to the health store and a little bitty bottle of oregano, and it seemed like it was 25, 30 bucks. But my pigeons were better before I could even get any medication for it, Adeno.
How did you administer it? How did you give it to them?
In the water.
In the water, straight water, okay.
Yeah, in fact, I know a lot of guys are big into putting stuff on the feed, especially like Paul. They like to put a lot of stuff on the feed and stick it to the feed. My dad and I are, anything that's going to work in the water, that's what we want to do, because I don't want to have to clean those feed trays and get all that fungus out of there and everything, you know, every day. Dump that feed out. If my birds are leaving feed, I don't want to have to worry about it collecting anything on it, sticking, you know, any kind of bacteria to it or anything like that. So I absolutely try not to put anything on the feed. I just leave the feed dry.
What's Paul putting on the feed?
Oh, Paul likes to use coconut oil.
Yeah, whatever.
Secret sauce. Right?
Yeah, but and that's
What's
where
the
me.
secret,
That's
Paul?
this is one of the things where me and Ryan differ. I don't. If you'll notice, pigeons, you go to put too much stuff in their water. You ever seen a pigeon? He'll taste it and I don't think so.
See, I've never
Walk
seen
away.
that.
Yeah, see Ryan, he's got his trained to drink anything. But mine, they won't drink anything. I don't. So I try to stay away from the water jug.
It's because you got yours hanging out with the Mormons too much.
Well, that's yeah, the malt barley. I try to do it on the feed. I mean, like that's why this product right here is so important to me, because I just mix it on the feed.
So what do you put for the powder? Brewer's yeast?
I don't use a lot of brewer's yeast. I really use this product right here.
Whey protein? Nothing like that?
No, I don't.
Always use white. And they asked me to come up to say something about vaccinations, and so I'm going to make it as quickly as brief as I can. We've been experiencing extremely high losses around the country, as we all know, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But it's not the same reason for every situation. It's not always adenovirus or circovirus, although those are big parts. But it's also perhaps cell phone towers, probably because we've had a great increase in those. I also believe that in terms of one-off racing, I have just been discussing things with Colin Walker because in my own results, I've seen things that I didn't expect. And I figured I had to get to the bottom of it. And so it led me to ask questions about vaccination protocols that we use not only within our own lofts, but what are the one-off races doing when they get the birds? And so I'm going to share what I've heard and lived and discovered here in the last few weeks. I personally vaccinate my pigeons twice before I ship them out to a one-off race. I did that at the advice of Ralph Herbots. He was in the States a few years ago doing seminars. I was at the AU convention in Utah. I trust that guy. I know he's very forthright and trying to be fair and honest with us and giving us the right advice. So from the point of him telling me that, I began to vaccinate, just as he said, 2 times before my babies go out of area. Now, I'm shooting at 3 weeks of age and at 5 weeks of age, and then they're being shipped right after I vaccinate that second time. So when the birds get where they're going, what's happening to them then? I've asked the question to a dozen world-renowned veterinarians, and I've gotten 5 different answers. So it gets really hard. But I don't believe a lot of these guys understand what we do here in the United States. The proliferation of one-off races is incredible, and a lot of us are participating in these things. They don't do that to that degree in Europe. If you know, the European guys fly out of their own lofts, they're not putting birds in one-off races to the degree that we do. So there's a difference. The protocol of vaccinating 2 times to stop adenovirus for young bird racing in Europe probably works great. But it's not working here to the degree that we should have it. There's too many birds being lost for crazy reasons. And if you ask the one-off guys that are managing these races, they are pulling their hair out because they know that they've got their pigeons healthy, they're doing the right things for them, they're training them right, and on a beautiful day they lose a ton of pigeons. It just doesn't make any sense. So I started thinking there's something else going on. There's got to be something else going on. And so I began to think. And it popped up to me when people that I sent birds to pulled me off on the side and said, Ed, I hate to tell you this, but as soon as I vaccinated your bird, when it came to me, I lost it. It got sick and it died. This happened to me at least a half a dozen times this year.
Me too.
Okay, so I've asked several, at other conventions and different people I've talked to around the country, I've asked the same question, and many of them are coming back and saying the same thing. Hey, I shoot my birds 2 times, and I have pretty decent pigeons. They should have done better in these races. They should have at least competed. They weren't even there at the end. As soon as it got to a long, hard toss, we lost them. Now, this shouldn't be. So, start thinking about it. One is maybe I shouldn't have been shooting those birds 2 times if the guy getting them is also shooting them as soon as the bird arrives. I've asked that specific question and I've gotten different answers. So I'm saying, I actually had to tell one of the vets, you don't know what you're talking about. And it embarrassed him and embarrassed me that I said it. But I was angry because they're not looking at what we're dealing with here. You cannot stress a baby pigeon at 4 to 5 weeks of age with bum, 3, 4 vaccinations. You can't do it. I'm going to tell the whole group here today, you cannot do it. If you do, you're asking for trouble. So, we should think about changing our protocols at our own lofts, because I doubt that you can ask the one loft race to change their protocol. They got to protect themselves. If the birds are coming in, they don't know what's been done to the pigeons that are coming to them. And the last thing they want is a PMV or outbreak of some virus to hit them, and then everything gets wiped out. So we got to make the assumption that the one-off races are going to vaccinate the pigeons when they get the pigeons. Now, it would be nice to find out that they're using good, legitimate vaccinations when they're shooting them. Maybe it would be a good idea to call those guys and find out what are you using. Let's find out what they're shooting and how many times are you shooting them. But the key is, if on our end as breeders, if we cut back, we may have better results. Another thing that I did find out from Colin Walker, which is great information, if we vaccinate the adult birds, the parent pigeons, the breeders, prior to pairing them up, the immunity that that mother hen gets from that vaccination is going to pass to the egg, through the egg, to the baby, and it's going to last the first 4 weeks of its life. And I finally got it out of Ralph Herbots himself, who told me just yesterday, well, because I was telling Ralph, I was really being hard on him. He said, well, if you vaccinate with the PMV herpes vaccine, or you vaccinate with PMV vaccine, or you vaccinate with salmonella vaccine, you should not use that vaccine on the baby pigeon before that baby is at least 4 weeks old. Oh, what? Well, you didn't say that to us. So here's the thing. If, and I have done it, if I shoot my birds with the PMV herpes vaccine that Ralph has sent me, the parent birds have had this vaccination. That vaccine is protecting that baby till he's 4 weeks old, but I'm shooting at 3 weeks of age. That first vaccine is for naught. It's doing nothing. It's actually hindering the immune system of the baby. Didn't know this. I had no clue. So I'm hurting the bird before I'm even helping the bird. And he's 3 weeks old. Then we go another 2 weeks and we hit them again, and I don't know what that's going to end up doing. And then we ship them to somebody who's going to get the bird a day or two later, and that's the first thing they're going to do when you pull them out of the box. And the bird has been stressed for what? 24 to 48 hours. That's not a funny, good feeling. And then that little baby pigeon has to survive all of that and be asked to start racing a few weeks later, a few months later. Not going to happen. A lot of the local pigeons, if you notice, do better in the one-off races than the birds sent from out of area. If you monitor that, you see it. It's very obvious. Why is that? They don't have to go through that stress of it being in the box. And perhaps the vaccination protocol is different. So, what we should think about trying to do. I personally am going to change what I'm doing. I'm not going to vaccinate 2 times in the nest anymore. Unless where the birds are going, because I don't all ship all of my pigeons to one-off races. Most of my birds go to racing in clubs. If those guys are not going to vaccinate, then I'll do it. But if they are going to vaccinate, I'm going to shoot 1 time. But I'm going to shoot after 4 weeks of age. And I'm going to make sure it's with one of the same vaccines that I shot the adult parents with. So I'm still asking questions. I've got emails all over the world right now, going to every place. Colin Walker has been responding back the best. He's been giving me a lot of answers. And he's asking really detailed questions that I can't answer because he wants data analysis and all kinds of stuff that I can't give him. But he said we could get to the bottom of it if we could provide some of that data to him. But the fact is, I think we are part of the problem we're having is vaccination protocols. So I wanted to present that to you guys. I'm sure some of you in this room are in the same boat I'm in. And you know, we're all trying to improve our sport, keep people from getting disgusted and want to get out. A lot of guys are so disgusted right now, so confused. They just want to throw their hands up and, you know, why am I doing this? This is so frustrating. Their wives are asking them, hey, can't you find an easier hobby? You know? Hey, it's true, man. I'm hearing that a lot. So, I'm going to share what I can with you. I thought this would maybe help some of you think it out logically. Just think it out logically. If it makes sense, it probably is a good thing to do. And I don't think it makes sense to be vaccinating baby pigeons whose parents have already been vaccinated and who are going to get vaccinated when they get where they're going. Yes, sir.
Okay, 4 weeks of PMV. When do you do the salmonella for young birds?
He advises, this is what Colin Walker says. Colin Walker says we should shoot salmonella first at 4 weeks of age and do PMV at 6 weeks of age. Now, I don't know when everybody ships to races. I usually ship mine around, I used to ship earlier, but I started backing off. I've waited a little bit. So I ship mine at 6 if I can, mostly to get that second vaccination in them. Now I'm not going to do that. But if he's telling me to shoot for salmonella first, I think maybe that's all I'm going to do, and I'll let the one-off races are mostly shooting PMV. There you go. Yep. I think that's what they're doing. I'm pretty sure most of them are shooting some type of a PMV. Don't you, Dale?
Yes, sir. I shoot 1 time with PMV, and I've had, but I don't, you might stand up. I fly the one-off race, handle, I should say. All right. I believe strongly for a pigeon to have built its own young bird immunities right off the bat. So birds come to me, usually they're 4 or 5 weeks of age. Some have been shot, some haven't. I never shoot a bird right out of the basket. The bird goes and sits there for 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks first, before it gets the vaccination shot for PMV. And I only do it once. And my health, this is 8 years now of doing a one-loft race. I've never had a big one-loft sickness situation. My returns have always been good. Some guys vaccinate them early, you know, so be it. I'd like to get shot once. I'm happy, and I do use Huey Photonic.
Well, I think when we get back to the vaccination thing, I'm glad to hear you don't shoot them right when they get there, because, man, I think the stress of shooting them that fast right after they come out of the boxes is a little bit too much for them. These pigeons are really sensitive at that age. They're just tiny babies, man. They're just in the infant stage of their life, and their immune system has not fully developed yet. So really, honestly, vaccinating them too many times really kind of overloads their immune system, I think. Again, I cannot get straight answers from everybody. It's just so damn difficult, because it's, you know, you talk to this expert, he gives you this answer, another expert tells you another thing, another one, another, and then you talk to the manufacturers of the vaccines. And there's one other thing I can tell you about vaccinations and the protocol that we use in our own lofts. These vaccines are fairly fragile things. They're not just, you can't just randomly say, okay, I'm going to pull a vaccine out of the fridge and I'm going to put it on a table and sit it in the sun, and 4 or 5 hours later I'll use it, and, you know, be haphazard about the way you use that. They should be kept. Colin Walker said this: treat vaccines like you would fragile food that has to be refrigerated. You wouldn't put chicken salad out in the sun for 6 hours and go back and eat it 6 hours later. So don't do it with the vaccines. The same protocol should apply. So in our own lofts, keep them cool, shoot them quickly, put it back in the fridge. Don't shoot so many times before you ship your birds. Unless you shoot, you're going to race them in your own lofts, and maybe back off and give them a chance to get some time between vaccinations, so that you're not bang, 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 bang to save your work. I know a lot of guys don't want to catch the birds each time, and that's legitimate, but think about the babies. You're probably better off not vaccinating at all.
What are your thoughts on mixing the vaccines?
I do it. My breeder birds that are fully and healthy and strong, I'm taking that PMV and that Salmonella from Dr. K. I mix the two in one bottle. I change my syringe to half a cc, and I shoot them all. We're doing that right now. All of those parent birds will get shot, and then if what I'm being told is correct, those babies should have that immunity till they're 4 weeks old with both Salmonella and PMV. So I'll shoot later.
Do you split it? I mean, like when you mix it, do you go half and half, or is there a different formula for that?
No, I take all of the KM1 Salmonella out of that bottle, suck it out with a syringe, and put it in the PMV bottle and mix it half and half and shoot. And up the dose to half a cc. That's going to give you 100 shots of a combo vaccine at that point. And it's American-made vaccines with American protocols that get to me overnight, and I'm usually shipping them out. Oh, and one other thing. Don't order your vaccines in the middle of the summertime, and don't order your vaccines in the middle of the wintertime. Okay, because freezing and high heat aren't good. I get a lot of customers who call me, order vaccines in the middle of the summer, dead middle of the summer. It's 100 degrees in Louisiana, it's 110 degrees in Omaha or wherever. And okay, we get the vaccine, we should send it overnight. No, I don't want to pay overnight shipping. So I'm going to pay second-day shipping. We still put an ice pack in it. But are you home when you get the vaccine? No. So the UPS guy drops it off at your doorstep and leaves it there. He called me up and say, well, I didn't get my vaccine. Oh, it was delivered to your front door. It's on your front doorstep. He goes out, oh yeah, but it's been there for 3 days. Well, what am I going to do with that vaccine now? Help us out, man. That's protocol, I think. You got to think. These vaccines are fragile. Don't order them in the middle of the heat, and don't order them in the dead of winter. Take advantage of companies like me who bring it to you. That's when you should get it. Bring it home. It's done. Carter? Ready?
Yeah, whenever you're ready. Yeah.
I just wanted to pass that on, guys. I didn't want to dominate this.
All right, guys, so that's going to wrap up the seminars. Of course, these men are here through tomorrow, so get aside, have your own personal seminar. But again, tonight, after after dark, we'll convene back here, and there's free food, free beer for all of you. I don't know if you'll have the same type of entertainment you had last night, but late enough, I suppose you will. And the raffle tickets are for sale. This is what $100 worth of them looks like. So please feel free to support that with the ladies out front. The t-shirts out there, and we got some Go Big Red. The Huskers are about to kick off, so I'm leaving the hotel here about noon for my house, and I'm sure the other guys. So if you need addresses and that sort of thing, or just follow me or follow Dwayne or whatever you want to do. But anyway, thanks. It was really a great seminar. Thank you, guys.